Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter, David, Steven, and Shane. Say what up, boys.
Yo, what's going on?
How's it going?
What's up, nerds?
We are back this time, August 23rd, 2023. Another round of daily spoilers from Wilds of Eldraine. We're almost done with spoiler season for this set. I think tomorrow is the last dump. This is kind of like all the rares and mythics we're talking about today. So, I don't know. Usually it ends on Friday, but we'll see. Before we start, I just want to remind everybody we are only talking about the rares and mythics just from the video. If you wanted to see all the commons and uncommons, then go follow us on our Instagram. That's at Guys at Magic, where we post every single spoiler, not just the rares and mythics. But let's go ahead and get started with the red Virtue. This is Virtue of Courage. It is another adventure. So the adventure part is Embereth Blaze. It is 1 and a red for an instant that says it deals 2 damage to any target. But Virtue of Courage is 3 and 2 red for an enchantment that says whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play those cards this turn. What do you think about the red Virtue?
I think it's
I
great.
like this a lot.
Burns
I
spells
think
in
it's okay.
face, allows pseudo card draw.
Well, it's kind of like it's so the instant portion of it, 2 mana for the 2 damage. That's not great, but because of the additional upside that you have with this card later on for the adventure, like the actual real enchantment portion of the card, I think this is awesome. Like put this in a aggro deck, something that's low to the ground, just like mono red aggro. It gives you the utility, and it's like not only just like burn to the face too, like it's any target, so you can use this on maybe one of your opponent's creatures or something. And then in the case that you do manage to go kind of later on, that enchantment's pretty big. That's going to help you get back into the game. So
Yeah, I actually
Well-
think this slots really well in the Perforos God of the Forge.
It does indeed, yeah. Dealing 2 damage to every opponent allows you to pseudo draw 6 cards.
Yeah, but then again, obviously, we'll get into Commander later.
No, we can talk about Commander here. We're not.
It's a
talking about-
joke. I want to get into Commander now.
Okay, talk about it.
I love this card for Commander. I think this slots into plenty of decks. I do have a Perforos deck that I kind of built because of David, and it is this just makes me happy.
you built it because of me.
I did.
I used to have that. I used to have a Perforos deck, and God, it was so much fun for me, not for anybody else.
Yeah, I think this card's good. I think we're all in agreement here. Seems pretty solid. Moving on to Gumdrop Poisoner. Another adventure. The adventure part is Tempt with Sweets. 1 black mana for an instant. Says create a food token. But Gumdrop Poisoner is 2 and a black for a 3/2 creature human warlock. It's got lifelink, and it says when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. It's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that you want to create the food, eat the food, and then play this to kill something. But at the same time, giving this lifelink and then having this just be an ETB is also a weird effect.
It's also 6 mana.
What?
No, I think
No,
you guys are
food is
totally misreading this
2.
card.
I see what you're saying. What?
I get
Tell
that
me.
he got to 6 by like also sacking the food. I think this is actually pretty dope. If you're playing like an Orzhov deck, anything that's like aristocrats, or if you are playing around with life gain. So the instant portion of this, the make a food, I think that's just like awesome. That's something that you can do with this creature if you happen to have it in your hand on turn 1 and you don't have a 1-drop. But that other ability stapled onto the creature, like this is going to be really powerful in multiples where you can trigger off that lifelink too. It's removal stapled onto a fairly decent body that's going to be gaining you more life, so you'll be able to take advantage of that. And like I mentioned earlier, like worst case scenario, okay, I made a food token before I got my creature in play. I like this card a lot.
I think the food token also is pretty interesting when you have this new bargain mechanic. So you don't have to eat the food. You can use it for a bargain.
Yeah. So I guess it makes sense that this would be way stronger in standard. You said multiple copies, so I could see it being run in standard.
I mean, yeah, and outside of standard too. I mean, like if you're putting this in like an EDH deck or something, if you're playing with a life gain deck, it's not uncommon for you to maybe be able to gain like 10 life in a turn. This is 3 mana for a creature that is probably just going to be able to kill whatever you want, and that's -X, so that's going to get around indestructible.
That's
True.
true.
I mean, I get your point. I guess just my counter argument. Not saying this is bad or anything, but like, I gotta gain a ton of life to hopefully kill a big thing, and just I just think that cool. I get a creature out of it, but this just removes one thing. I'd rather spend like maybe an extra 1 or even 2 mana to just wipe the board.
don't know. I
Maybe-
feel like
maybe.
it's like kind of circumstantial. Like I would probably put this in my Ellis core deck.
Yeah, that's true. That'll always gain you life eventually. But
I
yeah,
mean, worst case scenario, it ETBs, it triggers with the commander, so I at least gain 1.
yeah, you're right. Stack it how you need it.
Besides, who plays board wipes? It's all about the exile effects. You know what I mean, guys?
Oh, Jesus.
Next up, Song of Totentanz. This is X and a red for a sorcery that says create X 1/1 black rat creature tokens with this creature can't block, and creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Boom. Lots of rats.
Lots of rats.
Steven just talked about Perforos.
What about him?
It's a lot
Like,
of
this
tokens
is-
coming on the battlefield.
Yeah, this is another card that slots into that deck immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, this is great, dude.
Me and Shane were talking yesterday about spoiler season. We were saying Rakdos rats is going to be a thing in standard. I think this is making that
think
case
it really could be.
even stronger.
That stupid ogre thing, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 mana, get 3 1/1s, and all of your things gain haste.
Yeah. Seems good. But people were talking about, I read a comment that said there is a German folktale that actually talks about death of rats. So like this is perfectly themed in the wilds of Eldraine.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty cool. I think we're all on board with making a lot of rats. Moving on to Horned Loch-Whale. It is another adventure. The adventure part is called Lagoon Beach, which is 1 on a blue. For an instant, it says the owner of target attacking creature you don't control puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Horn-Locked Whale is 4 and 2 blue for a 6/6 creature whale. It's got flash, it's got ward 2, and it says it enters the battlefield tapped unless it's your turn. Kind of an
Yeah.
unfortunate part about that entering tapped. So the flash doesn't really get to block.
I mean,
No,
I don't mind that much. I mean,
I don't mind it either.
you're playing it at the end of somebody's end step. You flash this
Yeah.
in, and then it's just untapped, ready to rumble, and then it's got ward 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, this is super mediocre in my mind.
I like the adventure part. Lagoon Breach is really good.
You know, I feel like that's kind of weird though, because typically creatures with a flash, part of the benefit of it is the surprise package. But if you are going to use the adventure portion of this, your opponents know you have this card.
Yeah.
True. You can still flash it in if you don't play the adventure.
I mean, yeah, but I actually feel like the adventure. I feel like it just might be better than the body.
Yeah, the good news is you don't have to cast a body. So if you're making a deck and you just like the adventure, just put the adventure in.
I can see the adventure
Yeah.
just being cast in standard, dude, in some like blue tempo deck.
Oh yeah, dude. It's
Just the whale sitting to the right, just waiting for
It'll
nothing.
just be forever. Yeah, they'll probably just never cast it. Like that
Put it on the
Haughty
bottom.
Jane deck, dude.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just annoyance blue. Yeah. I don't know. The card's weird. I mean, I guess you get a big body later on if you really need it.
It could be a finisher, I guess.
Moving on to the final virtue. It is Virtue of Strength, the green one. It is a adventure. So the adventure part is Garenbrig Growth. It is 1 green for a sorcery that says return target creature or land from your graveyard to your hand. But Virtue of Strength is 5 and 2 green for an enchantment that says if you tap a basic land for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. Now, I know
Nope.
you guys are going to talk about this is kind of like Nyx Bloom Ancient, except it's worse because you can only tap your basics for triple the mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is very expensive, and I'm not doing that.
Unfortunately, green gets the short end of the stick. Once again, it is the worst of this cycle.
Confirmed here
Unless
first.
Steven says something.
Steven?
Oh, if I say something that means it's not the worst of the cycle?
Yeah, exactly.
Something.
All right, you heard it here
Ooh,
first,
it's not
guys.
the worst.
I mean, out of all of the colors, this definitely isn't the best. Do I think it's terrible? Makes mono green stompy more mono green stompy, I guess. Like, do I want to waste 7 mana to then, take 21 the following turn? Maybe. I don't know.
Depends if you're using all basics.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm playing a mono green deck, what's the point?
Utility lands.
Nah,
Could have a couple of them, I guess, but
useless.
useless.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I was really a fan of all these virtues until this one. So, bummer. But that first part, I guess the adventure part, is like just return a creature back to your hand for 1 mana. That's not bad.
No, it's pretty good. It's a shittier Noxious Revival.
I mean, you could also use a land, or you could also grab a land for this. So, like, I don't know, grab your fetch land again if you want. Or, if you're not very nice and don't have very many friends, grab your strip mine.
Oh god.
I knew
Yeah,
you were
don't do
gonna
that.
go there.
I knew he was too.
All right, moving on to the last rare of the main set. This is Twining Twins. That's right. You thought it was going to say Twinning Twins, but it's not. Twining Twins. It is another adventure. The adventure part is Swift Spiral. It's 1 and a white for an instant that says exile target non-token creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. But Twining Twins is 2 and 2 blue for a 4/4 creature fairy wizard. It's got flying, vigilance, and ward 1.
This looks like a weird card, dude.
I hate the name of it, the tongue twister. Maybe that was
I would-
intentional because it's fairies and they're
Well, they're
designed
al-
as
they're
your
also-
brain.
They are
You really
spinning
wanna-
right now.
You want to say Twinning Twins, don't you?
Maybe I want to say twinning twines.
I'm
Twindling.
going to tell you right now, anytime I play this card, and I will say Twinning Twins.
Twinning Twins.
Twinning like that.
Twinning.
Yeah. I don't know. What do we think of this as a card?
It's great.
This is
Yeah.
probably good enough to see play in like an Azorius control. That first ability is a pain in the butt to get around, and then the second ability that provides you a pretty decently statted creature. 4 mana, 4/4 flying, vigilance, ward 1.
Yeah.
I agree. I think blinking your own stuff is always really good to get that extra ETB,
Mm-hmm.
and then just stable this insane
Or to
body on
save
top
'em.
of it.
Yeah.
I mean, or you could just like use it on your opponents as like pseudo removal. So they go to combat and whoops, now the creature is not there.
Yeah,
Very,
but it's
very
only
true.
gone until the beginning of the next end step, so it doesn't matter whose end step.
Still
it
not
is.
there for that turn, though.
Yeah, but you wouldn't take damage, yeah.
It's not hitting you.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
You can also do it to stop a blocked or something.
Like if for some odd reason somebody had like a huge creature with like Annihilator or something like that, and you didn't want them to attack you. I don't know why that example is pertinent right now, but
Because, yeah.
And moving on to the last 2 cards, they did announce the Fairy Dominion and Virtue and Valor Precon decks today. So we're just going to be talking about 2 of the more popular cards from each one. So the first one is from the Fairy Dominion deck. This is Misleading Signpost. It is 2 and a blue for an artifact with flash that says when it enters the battlefield during the declare attacker step, you may reselect which player or permanent target attacking creature is attacking. You can also tap this to add a blue.
I'm sorry.
David, it's a 3-mana rock, dude. I love it.
This is a good 3 mana rock.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Is-
What do you
that
mean?
only-
Is it?
Does that only happen when you have it ETB though?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I say is it. Like, if this was a repeatable ability, then I would 100% be down. However, it only is in very specific decks. You have to be able to blink an artifact.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean,
I don't
the
even
fact
think
that
I
this
care.
flashes in and you can tap it for blue immediately is really good on its own.
Yeah,
It's not coming in tapped. And I get it. They changed the wording on this to say which player or permanent because now there's battles. You can have it direct at a battle.
Also, planeswalkers.
Or planeswalkers, yeah. That's true.
I mean, I think this card's super, super amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Somebody comes to swing at me, no, reselect. Thank you very much.
Good try.
Yeah.
I mean, I
like
get your point.
It's
Sorry,
interesting.
I get your point on like wanting to blink it, but I just kind of consider this like a 3-mana counter spell that really just counters what they're doing to me.
You
Like
are countering, in that sense, a specific creature's combat step one time.
I think it's okay. I'm a big fan of 3-mana rocks. You know me. I guess it kind of reminds me of the other mana rock we looked at, Hunter, that I actually wasn't that stoked on, where it's a mana rock until you make it not a mana rock, and then it never is. This is kind of like a mana rock that gives you a one-time effect, and then it just taps for mana, so it's okay.
People are saying this might be better than Midnight Clock, which I don't know if it is or not.
I don't know
Doesn't-
how people would say something so stupid. I mean,
Doesn't Midnight Clock also draw you cards?
yes,
It
does.
puts your graveyard back in your deck and then your hand into your deck and then draws 7 new ones.
All right, cool. So it draws you cards? Yeah, this is nowhere near as good.
Moving on to the final card. This one is from the Virtue and Valor deck. This is Timber Paladin. It's 1 and a green for a 1/1 artifact creature knight. It says as long as Timber Paladin is enchanted by exactly 1 aura, it has base power and toughness 3/3. As long as it's enchanted by exactly 2 auras, it has base power and toughness 5/5 and vigilance. And as long as Timber Paladin is enchanted by 3 or more auras, it has base power and toughness 10/10, vigilance, and trample. It's kind of the steps, but with auras.
I'm so glad the last part didn't say exactly 3. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know if I like this.
This is great.
You think?
Yeah.
If I'm
like
playing a
you're
game
in-
of Commander and I want big smashy things, it better be on the Commander where that damage actually matters.
Seems like you're gonna get 3 for 1 all day on this one, dude.
So the Virtue and Valor deck is all about rolls, but each creature can only have 1 roll, so yeah.
So then you're
So-
putting auras.
You're
It's
putting a
a
lot more
3/3.
auras on this.
It seems cool, but it just seems very fragile.
They wanted to do the thing that they've been doing in like every set where it turns into, you know what I'm talking about. Frodo, right? Was it just that?
I
In
mean,
the last
kind of. That's like an old version of Level Up, though. Like they've had those kinds of effects for a long time.
They've been printing one in every set, I feel like, recently, and this is just the next version with the set mechanic.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
But I don't know. Timber Paladin is weird. What do you think, Steven? You said it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually pretty good, man. I mean, like, obviously, any kind of aura enchantment based deck is this is great. I mean, shit, you get 3 of them on there. You got a 10/10 with vigilance and trample. Daddy's swinging all day.
He's swinging all day. But that is going to do it for us today. If you guys wanted to check out all the other cards that we did not talk about, once again, go follow us on our Instagram. That's @GuysAtMagic. Also in the description with our Instagram, you'll find our TikTok and our Twitter. Follow us on those too. Before we wrap things up, though, boys, let's ask the question. David, what was your favorite card we talked about today?
My favorite card today is probably going to be the Virtue of Courage. I just love red things, and that's very red.
Speaking of red things, I think my favorite is the Song of Totentanz. Making a bunch of rats.
If I have to pick a favorite from today and I can't pick the same one as you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Misleading Signpost. I know it's from a commander deck, but it's kind of fun, man. I really enjoy that.
It's a good one.
I am gonna pick the right card here and pick Twinning Twin.
You twinning twins. Yes, not twining.
Twining twin.
That's what I said.
Twining twines. What was your favorite card? Comment down below. Let us know. We're always interested to hear your guys' opinions. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you're keeping up to date with all the cool videos, because we did talk about 2 cards from the Precon decks. Don't forget, we are going to be doing the $100 and $300 upgrades to those decks as well. So stay tuned. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.